Good morning, my brothers and sisters. Welcome to episode 53 of Be With Me, and we're going to find out what address that Jesus is at. Or that's my title, is Jesus, what is your address? Here we go. This is Jesus calls the first disciples. This is episode 53, and I think this is the initiation of Jesus's public ministry as he's calling disciples. He's calling followers. So let's listen here. We've got John the Baptist. He's baptized. The next day he sees Jesus and says, "Behold, the Lamb of God." And then this is the next day. This is day 3. Verse 35 of John chapter 1. The next day, John was standing with two of his disciples. And we know one is Andrew, and they think the other one was John that wrote this gospel, John son of Zebedee. Andrew for sure. So the next day, John was standing with two of his disciples, and he looked at Jesus as he walked by and said, presumably to the disciples, "Behold, tada, the Lamb of God." And we talked about the pregnant phrase that is with great spiritual history, which is why he did not say, "Behold, the Rhino of God," with something with meaninglessness. Verse 37, the two disciples heard him say this, and they followed Jesus. Like poof, they followed Jesus. Verse 38, and Jesus turned and saw them following and said to them, "What are you seeking?" And they said to him, "Rabbi, where are you staying?" And he said to them, "Come and you will see." So they came and saw where he was staying. And they stayed with him that day, for it was about the 10th hour. So there's something here about spiritual reproduction, and one guy follows the next guy who tells the next guy who follows. But I wanted to get to this line here. So the two disciples are following Jesus. They're literally, not metaphorically, they're following Jesus. They're behind Jesus. Jesus turns around, seeing them physically follow him, and said to him, "What are you seeking?" What a great question. And think about the answers to that could have been, I seek the truth. I seek eternal salvation. I seek the Messiah who is to come. And they don't say any of those answers. What they say is, this just got me today. "What are you seeking?" And they said to him, "Rabbi, where are you staying? What is your address? What motel are you staying in? Where are you domiciled?" I just think this is hilarious. But here's the thing. The purpose apparently is we want to stay with you. We want to be with you. We plan to be physically there with you. When? Today, and then tonight, and then first thing tomorrow morning, we're going to be there, and then all day tomorrow, and then if you move, we're going to follow you there, and then where you rest your head, we're going to follow you wherever. We want to stay with you. We want to be with you for the long term, and it starts with a today, and then a tonight, and then tomorrow morning, but it's the long haul. So this address just caught me. We want you. And these disciples, other than maybe on the crucifixion moment, these guys never left Jesus's address. And in fact, they both died in the faith. Andrew as a martyr, and John as the only disciple to survive not being martyred, we think, church history. He lives to the ripe old age on an island on Patmos, writing the gospel and writing the book of Revelation. It's just, they stayed with Jesus forever. From this moment on, they stayed with Jesus forever. And today, if you could go to Andrew today, where would you find him? You'd find him at the Lord's side. Where do you find John? You find him at the Lord's side. You find him in heaven worshiping and having a spiritual party. So from this moment on, this physical address that we are speaking of, these guys never left the address of the Lord. They died staying in the presence of the Lord, and that's where we find them today. So I just love the idea of them saying, hey, if anything happens today, I want to be there. If there's any truth revealed, I want to be there. If there's a miracle, I want to be there. Maybe if there's a rebuke, part of the spiritual life is you stand in the pathway of God, and we're sinful people, and He's got to straighten us out. Sometimes you got to knock a few things down, as we've said. If there's any spiritual activity, I want to be there. So I just love this, that these guys not only want to identify the Lord, but they wanted to be located with the Lord. And I think what a great, call to us is, I want your address, Lord. I want you, and I want to be able to find you. And where do I find you? I find you at the address. And therefore, I'm going to find you today. I'm going to be with you, whatever happens today, whatever work you have for me today. And then tonight, and then when we go to bed tonight, maybe in a dream or whatever, and then the first thing in the morning. And let's just keep doing that, lather, rinse, repeat until death, and never leave you. So I'm encouraged by these guys and their crazy answer. Where is your location? But what a great thing. I think me, Lord, I just want to be where you are today, and then I'm going to rest with you, and I'll see you in the morning. It's the greatest be with me answer of all time. Thank you for being with me today. Thank you for being with Jesus. And Jesus, what is your address today? Thanks for listening.